You are listening to the You Get to Decide podcast with your host, Allison Cratchola Gallagher, and this is episode number 62. Welcome to the You Get to Decide podcast. This is your life and business coach and host, Allison Cratchola Gallagher. I help all you high achievers out there feel content and confident so that you can feel happy now. Then you're just going to go out and create the life of your dreams faster. Through my journey, coaches have helped me completely transform my life, and now I get to help you do the same. Every week, we're going to talk tools, tips, and tricks to help you take consistent action based off the life you want. Because you really do get to decide your life. And I am here to remind you of that every week. So let's get started. Hello, listeners. Welcome back to the You Get to Decide podcast. I hope that you're having a fantastic week. So I'm a life and business coach. I don't always say that, but I guess my intro and exit speak that, but I don't always say that. So I am a life and business coach, and I've been a life and business coach. Technically, I was certified in 2022, but I've been probably coaching and just inspiring and all those things for a really long time. But in 2022, I got certified to be a coach. And I just want to offer that in 2018, I hired my first coach. And what she showed me, I've said this before, and I'm not sure if I said this on this podcast, but she not technically, but like if you could imagine someone holding up two mirrors for you. And for the first time ever, another human being showed me what was possible for me. And then she also showed me another mirror of like a reflection of what I was doing to myself with my thoughts and my beliefs and my sabotage. And that changed my world. It changed my life. It made me realize that I am the reason for my results, but I'm also the source of any of and all potential and possibility. And I can change my life and create whatever I want. Now that is easier said than done, but it absolutely is possible. And it really does start with our mindset. So for the next 5 years, 6 years, I don't even know how many years ago that was, 7 years, I dug deep into the coaching realm, studying it, getting coached. I've had so many different types of coaches that have pulled me through, shown me things, helped me undo what we say is like a limiting belief of how you see yourself, how you see your life, how you see your results, how you see your world, how you see everything. If it's limiting you in some way, it's a limiting belief. Right? Or if it's going to create a bad feeling in your body, a sucky feeling, restriction, sadness, overwhelm, those we call limiting beliefs because they're cutting you off from your potential and maybe the life that you actually want, right? And our brain we are meaning-making machines. Our brains just are spinning stories all day. That's how they're wired. That's how they function. Our brain spins stories. And it's going to spin stories not based on fact. It's spinning stories based on what we believe. And our beliefs usually come from childhood, and they're buried in our subconscious, which so makes it really hard to see them without an outside source or to look at them neutrally. It's possible to look at them neutrally, but it's harder to look at them neutrally. And so when we have someone else looking in on our brain and our thoughts and our beliefs, that might be keeping us stuck and we're not realizing that that's what's happening. We have someone else looking in neutrally and just starts poking and asking questions. We say that the limiting beliefs are like locks on our brain. And when we dig deep and poke holes in those beliefs and loosen those beliefs, we're loosening those locks. And some of the locks are clean, break right off. And some of them are old and crusty and rusted and move a little and then move back and then move a little more and then move back depending on how long the belief is there and how, and also because our beliefs are like the filter. So it's the lens of how we see our world, right? So if we see, like for me, some of my core beliefs have been I'm unworthy, and I didn't even realize like that these were some of my beliefs, but they were creating my results because I would sabotage or show up less than my potential, or, one of my beliefs is that I'm wired to struggle, and which my nervous system is very much wired to struggle. But if I have someone else looking in on my brain to help me see where that is showing up, it's faster to break through that belief. Okay. Because that's like one of the old rusty locks for me, is that I'm wired to struggle, or that it's harder for me. Like some of these beliefs, it's harder for us, or I'm not smart enough, or it's, fear of judgment of others, or, some of these beliefs go deep into our subconscious. And what happens is our nervous system doesn't feel safe to show up in the way we want to show up because of these beliefs that it'll hurt us, that it's unsafe. And so we have to create safety for ourselves in order to move towards whatever we want, right? The beliefs we have about ourselves, our capabilities, our possibilities, our beliefs about our body, the beliefs about anything to do with money, career, what we can handle, beliefs about our time. I'm trying to think. Beliefs about relationships. If you watch certain things go on in your parents' relationships, then do you believe a relationship deep down is safe, or what type of person is safe, right? There's domestic violence that gets handed down generation to generation because our nervous system is wired that is what kept us alive, right? Our nervous system is like, this is safety because you're still alive, right? So it's going to recreate what you're used to. And then you end up attracted to people that are going to be abusive. That's how patterns develop, right? Same with alcohol or addiction. Okay. So there's so much to it. But all this was so fascinating. And I've been on this journey since I was a teenager. I had an eating disorder when I was very young. My dad gave me a lot of great books to read. He was very, I want to say enlightened, though he had his baggage, but he would meditate. He did transcendental meditation when I was like 7 or 8, 9 years old. He took us to get our word and have a little ceremony so that we could do transcendental meditation. My dad read a ton of books. He gave me the 4 agreements. I was like 15. So I was in recovery for food addiction at 20, 21, right? So I've just been on this mental health, self-empowerment journey for as long as I can remember. And when I discovered that this is like, that I could do this and help others, I just, the thought was, this is what you're meant to do because you've been through so much, because you've learned so much, because you are, I have chronic worry and anxiety. I just had to reread, and in the last 2 podcast episodes, I talked about this. I just had to reread Anxiety RX because I had an anxiety flare up, and I don't know why. I don't know why that I was triggered. And the anxiety flare up is literally chronic worry, which puts my body into terror. And I'm present and I'm aware, but it is so hard not to attach myself to the thoughts because they feel like fact. So I'm here to share with you that there's always an option. The name of this podcast is You Get to Decide, because any thought you have, we get to decide if we want to believe it or not. And I know it feels really hard sometimes not to believe things that can be extremely painful. Our brain is not wired to create your dreams. I'm sharing with you that if you've never done that before, your nervous system is like, this isn't safe. It's not safe to be seen. Some people believe it's not safe to have a lot of money, right? And when I say people, subconscious, right? If we grew up hearing that it's money is greedy, or, like I hear Taylor Swift just announced her next album. And I have people in my family that like put her down. And I'm like, that belief, my daughter is listening to that. My daughter is listening to, this is a woman who really is walking the path of her purpose. and is determined to overcome her challenges. Like, this is how I say it. And it might sound woo to you, but there's hundreds of people that I run with that would be in the same room with me, that would be nodding their head along with me. But I believe when you walk your purpose and whatever those challenges are, and you work to overcome them, and you are aligned with your purpose, this is how big you can get in life. Okay. When you are walking in your path of your purpose, in alignment for why you're here, you will create riches to that level. You will create the impact to that level. I believe everybody's here for that purpose. Are we in touch with it? Are we willing to do the work? All those things play a factor, right? But I believe she was willing, and, like every city she's in, she's dropping hundreds of thousands of dollars into food banks. Like, this is the impact you can create, right? You also create a lot of people that hate you. Yep, absolutely. That's the world we live into. Everybody has access to a keyboard, right? But this is someone who is living an aligned life, okay? And that is my belief. You do not have to agree with me, but I believe that. And her journey was relationships, right? Finding the right one for her that fits her energy, that creates safety for her, because she lives such a big life, So, so to getting back to, what you believe about relationships, what you believe about yourself, what you believe you're worthy of, what you believe is safe deep down in your subconscious, we're going to attract what we think is safe. And that might be no money. That might be abuse. That might be a great job, the job of your dreams. That might be the relationship of your dreams. That might be the house of your dreams. It's whatever we feel and think is safe deep down in our subconscious. That's what we attract. So the journey is to create safety for ourselves in what we want to achieve. Okay. What I want to offer in this podcast, and I do a newsletter, and if you're interested in being in my newsletter, drop me a line on Instagram or an email, coaching@AllisonGallagher.com. And if you want to be on my newsletter, but I want to give you a visual, okay, to help you with your thoughts. I don't think I've ever talked about this on the podcast, but I did a newsletter on this multiple times because this was something that my coach offered to me. And I was actually being coached by a colleague just now, and she brought it up to me to help me really see what thoughts I'm entertaining. And I was like, wow, I need to do a podcast about this. So imagine your brain is a courtroom. Okay. There's the defense, which is what you want to believe, what you want to achieve, the things you want to have, the goals you want to create. Okay. Maybe the perfect partner, the perfect job, the perfect life, the perfect amount of money, or just believing it's possible to live a life of ease, believing it's possible just to have peace, or to be a great mother, or to have the capacity to be a great mother, make a certain amount of money, like whatever you want to be that you are trying to create. Okay, that's the defense. Then there's the prosecution. The prosecution is all the thoughts you have that negate that. Okay, all the thoughts that you have that poke holes in the possibility of what you want to create, telling you there's not enough time, telling you you're not smart enough, telling you there's no perfect partner out there, that dating is a crapshoot, telling you that there's not enough money, telling you that if making you feel guilty. If I make this much money, there's less money for other people, or people will stop liking me if I make a certain amount of money. Like, those are the thoughts of the prosecution. Okay. The defense is what you want. The prosecution is why you can't have it. And the judge is you, the observer. You can observe your thoughts. You are not your thoughts because you You are not your thoughts. You can observe them. Because you can observe them, you're not your thoughts. Hold on, hold on. Okay, so you are the judge, okay? The defense is pleading his or her case, right, which is you and what you want. And then the prosecution is pleading their case. And here's what happens. The one with the most evidence is the one that will win. So I want you to look at that neutrally. Think about that. That is how it works. The defense, the more evidence the defense offers, the more likely that belief is going to arise, which will then create the action it takes to create the result you want. Versus the prosecution, which is negating, right? It's telling you all the reasons you can't have it. If the prosecution offers more evidence of why you can't have it, that's going to create a deeper groove in the belief of why you can't have it. And then we're going to take action based on that belief. And then what happens? We create that result. So this is ongoing work. You don't just do it one time. Okay. We have a human brain that's running on 60,000 thoughts a day. We're human beings. None of it is linear. We're feeling humans. We are interacting in a very anxious world, cell phones, triggers, distractions. It's not easy work. It's not easy work, but it's simple. It is simple. If you woke up every morning and decided what you wanted to believe and just believed it, you would create your results you want faster. You'd probably feel better overall. You create the results you want faster. If anything, you're just going to feel better. Like deciding, this is what I want to believe about my life. This feels good. And then go and believe it, right? This is what I want to believe about my kids. This is what I want to believe about me as a parent. This is what I want to believe about my bank account. This is what I want to believe about my partner. This is what I want to believe about the job right now that I have. This is what I want to believe about my goals. This is what I want to believe about my body. This is what I want to believe about the scale that I get on. This is what I want to believe about my weight. This is what I want to believe. Like, we really get to choose. Imagine if you wrote down everything you wanted to believe about your life that created a feel-good day. How do you think you'd go about your day different than just letting your brain take over and the prosecution take over? I'm not good enough parent. My kid is a jerk off. They're lazy. My boss doesn't understand me. I can't handle this. I'm too overwhelmed. I can't handle this. Like, I'm trying to think of what my clients, addiction. I have clients that have addiction patterns, that we need an X substance to cope. We need an X substance to feel safe. We don't realize that we're choosing a substance to feel safe, but the addiction is fueled by, we're not safe without it. That's what's going on in the nervous system. That's going on in the subconscious. And if we hit the root of that, the addiction goes away. It's not the substance. It's not the scrolling. It's not the drinking. It's not the food. It's not the cigarettes. It's not the pot. It's none of that. It's we don't feel safe without it deep down. And when we create safety for ourselves and our nervous system, that we are okay just being us, and the vulnerability that comes with just being us and faith, we don't need any of that stuff. And it's very ongoing. It's been very ongoing for me, especially as I level up, right? I'm triggered at every level. The trigger changes, the trigger lessens, but lately the trigger has been more intense. And my coach said to me, it's because you're breaking free from an old version of yourself. she is leaving you and she is holding on for dear fucking life. And some of my behaviors in the last 2 weeks, I'm not proud of because old behaviors are creeping back. But I just want to be the observer. I just want to be the observer of the thoughts, of the patterns. I don't want to attach myself to them, even though I'm the one doing them. I just want to observe them because they're not me. They're a part of me coming from my subconscious. They're not my higher self. The prefrontal cortex, which is in your forehead, you're like your front of your brain, that's your higher self. That's your higher level thinking. That's your dreams. That's your aspirations. That's what you know you're capable of. That's the life you envision for yourself. Right? I want to observe from that place, not from the old wiring. I don't want to observe from that place because that's the part of me that's acting out. That's the part of me that's spiraling in anxiety. That's her. The one that thinks if we let go of this and go to our higher level, we're not safe. And so she's trying to pull me back with the negative thoughts, with the anxiety, with the terror, with the fear. And when my colleague said to me, she reminded me of your brain is a courtroom. Like it hit me. It hit me. And what we have to do through this journey, the number one thing to do in this journey is to have compassion for yourself. Look at yourself as the human being that you are. You have fragilities, you have strengths, right? You have triggers, and then in some ways, and you're not triggered in other ways. You're a human being, live a full human experience. Have compassion for the things you do that you're not proud of. Get curious, right? Like I'm really getting curious on why I'm thinking these things, why I'm believing what I'm thinking, why the patterns are showing up. I'm trying to stay with myself in those moments with curiosity, because they don't define me. They don't define me. They're a part of me. And most of the time they're not there. Okay. So when they do show up, there's a reason. It's not just because I'm a piece of shit. It's not because I'm broken. It's because there's old patterns happening, triggers somewhere. That's it. Okay. So I think that's it for this week. But just a reminder that your brain is a courtroom. The defense is who you want to be, what you want in your life, and the prosecution is all the reasons you can't have it. Those are the different battling thoughts in your head all freaking day. My coach said, I heard her say, one of my coaches say, we have 60,000 thoughts a day and most of them are contradictory, and that's why we're all fucking crazy. And I just loved her so much more for saying that, because it's so true. But when we're aware of it, we don't have to make it a problem. We don't have to make it more of a problem than it already can be, because it can be confusing as hell in our brain, right? We start to doubt our capabilities. Our brain starts to latch on to the lack and the scarcity and the not enough and run with us. And we're believing it. And next thing you know, we're spiraling. We're talking us out of doing the things we want to do. This is where depression comes from. Okay? I mean, some of it. And so really get curious on what you want to believe and what you are believing, what you want to believe, and what your day would look like if you chose differently, if you chose to believe what feels good to you, right? Because what we focus on, we get more of. So if I focus on, my husband just said some things to me last Friday night that I was like, I can't with you. I was like beside myself. And But that's not who he is 99.9% of the time. But if I focus on that one thing, I will create more of that. I'll get more of it because that's all I'm going to focus on. What we focus on grows, right? So what do I want to believe about my husband? What do I want to believe about my daughter? Well, my brain tells me, or what do I want to believe of me as a mother, right? My brain is like, you're failing her. You didn't undo all the things you were planning to do. She just turned 14. All this is landing on her, like all the things, right? But what do I want to believe? She's going to be okay. She's strong enough in this journey. I'm doing what I can, which is enough, right? Those are all better feeling thoughts. So how does that pertain for you in your life? And if you know someone that this could help, please share this with them so we can spread light, hope, curiosity, information versus all the negativity that is out there. And if you feel so inclined and you're getting much from this podcast, I would love a review. That helps me so much. And I also just love to hear, how it's helping people. And, feel free to subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. And I'm sending you all so much love, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys. One more thing. If you're loving this content, I would love for you to review wherever you're listening. Share this with a fellow amazing human that might need some extra support. And I'd love your feedback. If you're looking to give it, you can reach me at coaching@AllisonGallagher.com. If you're curious on how I can help you and what it would look like to work together, if you want to accelerate your goals, if you have goals, just don't know where to start, or if you just know you're meant for more, we would start with a free scheduled call. You would tell me where you are and where you wish you were. And by the end of that call, you're going to have relief and clarity, even some confidence, because you're going to know your action steps to take next. Then you can decide if working with me is the right fit or not. Either way, you're going to have all the information you need to move forward. To schedule a call, you can follow the link in my show notes or go to AllisonGallagher.com for more information. You've been listening to the You Get to Decide podcast with your host, Allison Cratchiola Gallagher. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.